And in this video, I wanted to just quickly talk about how strong target combos actually are in this game. They're such a simple aspect of it, and I know people know that they exist, but I think people kind of underestimate how useful they can be in such various and weird situations. So first, I'll just quickly talk about all the options you have within a target combo, just in itself, because I think people are unaware of that. I see a lot of people going for the target combo as just light punch, heavy kick, which is cool, and that's the basis, but you can actually make them longer than that, and there's various ways you can end them. So you can actually do 2 heavy punches. So you can go light, heavy kick, which just adds a lovely amount of damage, especially if you're just considering this as a poke combo, and you're just doing something like this, like after a close poke. That's a lovely amount of damage from something where you normally, like, the most damage you would get is something like this. Is a lot less damage than just simply going into this target combo. So you can go light, medium, light, heavy kick, and you can also change the heavy kick ender into down heavy kick or forward heavy kick, which actually ends up being your overhead, which is normally done with rev heavy punch. Now that would look like this: forward heavy kick and crouching heavy kick for a sweep. So there's a little bit of inbuilt mix. It's pretty easy for the opponent to react to because obviously this overhead is a lot slower than this near instant low, but it's cool to have that option of mix. And of course they can also come out from this slower option. I mean the less heavy punches options. So that is all the options you have from your target combo. And just to finish off all the options from the regular full string, just ending in regular heavy kick, you can actually cancel only into your rev blow. Nothing else. But hey, just like we were talking about good damage, we're talking about this context again. That's basically the most damage you're ever gonna get from a like poke with a lot of characters in this game. Like Billy, for example, he can't ever go into EX specials or something from his pokes. So like the most he's ever getting is like if you try and do something fancy like this. Like that's the most damage he'll get from his pokes unless he's just spending a super. And even then, that's only a little bit more damage than just simply spending a little bit of rev gauge for a simple target combo. They can add a lot of damage to your pokes. So that's case 1. They're just simply adding damage to situations you wouldn't have normally gotten damage. And also keep this in mind that this is off of basically every character's fastest button. A 4 frame standing light punch close to the opponent is basically everyone's 4 framer. So it's really good if you're going for, your hops, whatever, and you try and, you're trying to do it early so you can catch the opponent before they do their anti-air. A lot of the time you're not going to be super plus enough to go for a lot of your heavies. So if you aren't plus enough, well, a 4 framer will easily connect in a lot of situations that other things wouldn't. And as you can see, it's still a decent amount of damage to connect from things that normally wouldn't do a lot of damage. And there are weird situations where you can get things that do, like, make you plus floor. Like people get a lot of meaty overheads, and then that becomes only +4, but when you +4, perfect. Then I can get this simple extension from it where normally I wouldn't have gotten anything else from +4. So it's a really good way of adding damage in places where either you're not going to get a lot of damage or literally nothing else would connect. Now, if we talk about them in the context of offense, and I make the opponent guard here, just do 100% guard. If we talk about it in the context of offense, because it is like your fastest stuff, anytime when you're slightly plus, so, obviously after your jump-ins or something, and you know that you're not extremely advantageous, maybe you did like an early hop and you're gonna be like barely plus and you don't want to go for, like there where you're 0 or something, and you want to go for something as fast as possible. Well, of course, your light pokes are gonna be the main thing you can go for, and this is your fastest button. And you may not think it, but these are actually surprisingly safe and good for pressure. They're not just fast. So if we take even just the first 2 hits, light punch, heavy punch, -2. And if you do this a lot of ranges, this is going to be like not only just safe, but like out of range of most of the opponent's buttons. You can go for a walk back and go for any of your heavies and basically just reset. It's a really good chance to go for that because they're probably expecting you to go for the full string of this. Just, get as many hits and build up their rev gauge. But if you just go like this, and then you can maybe do something like get, some cheeky extra hits, fish for something else, or just dash in for a throw. It's surprisingly good and recovers so quickly. And if we do another hit, 2 heavy punches, is -4, but all this pushback ain't no one's -4 hitting from this range, so once again, extremely safe. And it's pretty easy to hit confirm if you're worried about using any of the, you know, slightly unsafe enders, like if you go, for example, sweeps are generally an unsafe way of finishing this, so that's mainly for mix. But getting all these hits and being -4 is really cool, and that leads into the next part of why these are good on offense, is that they actually build a lot of the opponent's rev gauge. If I just do something simple like this, that puts her on 22% rev gauge. Normally to get something like that, I'd have to do, you know, like a big heavy into a nice big heavy special, and that still might not lead up to that. So to be able to build that on the opponent's rev gauge just from a simple string is really important to keep note of, that you can just build up their meter really quickly by adding all these lights together. Like if I go for some random like hop attack or like a big jump hit with all these lights, I can build up the rev gauge super high, which is just another good thing to take note of. And then of course you have the overheads and the lows, you know, a little bit of mix. If you're trying to end out the game, sure, this low might catch someone trying to walk back or escape something. But the overhead is where it gets really cool. Unfortunately, the overhead is not going to be something you'll do all the time because there is a gap, it doesn't even combo. So people can perhaps DP or rev blow through it, but it, apart from having a gap, is extremely strong. So as you can see, unlike the regular overhead, which is normally +3 on hit and -3 on guard, from this string, the overhead ender is actually +2 on hit and on block. So going for something like this, no matter whether they're blocking or getting hit by the string, leaves you right in range for immediate strike throw. Either you can go right in for a throw, or just reset your pressure again. Go for some random pokes into more strings, and think about the amount of rev gauge you're going to build from this. That's like half of the opponent's rev gauge from one light block string from just a little poke that I happen to do. And they just like are halfway to burnout. It's like they did their own combo, but it was just from blocking. It's super strong, just being able to throw this overhead out, and I don't think a lot of people know that this overhead extension exists, because I don't see people doing it much, and people freak out when they see people doing it in tournament, like, whoa, what was that? But it's just a core part of the game, and it's super strong. +2, right in the face, immediate strike throw. If they don't block it, you're also, +2. They get, oh, mixed up by it, +2. Exact same situation, except I believe you're left even a bit closer. So you can just immediately go loop the same situation over and over again if they keep getting hit by that overhead. It is so strong, it is so cool, and it's just a really crucial part of the game that I think a lot of people are not utilizing, because when they go pokes, they're just going like poke into their regular poke string over and over again, me included, of course. And yeah, just good to know that this is such a strong thing that adds really a sneakily substantial amount of damage to a lot of things. Like, if that was a jump in that I normally wouldn't have gotten a combo from, that is a great amount of damage from anything that's 4 frames. If I done a sneaky knockdown, that leaves me at like a +4 overhead. That just adds a lot of damage to something that normally would have been basically no damage, because you're only +4, you wouldn't have gotten anything else except maybe a dash up into a cheeky throw. So yeah, lovely. We get damage, we get mix, we get plus frames, we get to build a lot of the opponent's rev gauge, we get to burn them out basically. You get a lot of stuff, and it just makes your poke game a lot stronger, so I recommend trying it out and maybe focusing on it for a few matches and seeing if it matches your playstyle. Anyways, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.